Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Oopscast.
Oopscast,
This is your host, Grant Crine.
and your host Kishan Desai.
And
Thank
oh
you,
boy,
yeah,
ladies
thank
and
you for
gentlemen,
yeah.
this episode will be by far one of my favorite episodes that
Same
we'll be
here.
recording because this is going to be a special episode. And I'm
hmm
talking about two expansion teams that will be coming to the NBA.
Last year, Oopscast expanded with two new segments with 5 minute fantasy NHL and 5 minute fantasy NBA, and now the NBA is inspired by us, and now they're expanding two new teams into the league. Before
Lost.
we tune in, Hey, before we tune into this, man, thank you for tuning into every episode, guys. We're appreciating the support. I see the DMs all the time. Man, we've been getting a lot of DMs on collab videos, so you guys will be getting some of those soon too, you know?
Or,
Yeah. But let's get right into it. So, man, expansions are nothing new to the NBA, you know? We've had multiple expansion teams. That's really how the league has been made up, you know? Of
Mhm.
teams and stuff. And the last expansion team we had was actually the Charlotte Bobcats, who are currently the Charlotte Hornets. You know, um, now and that whole saga of the Charlotte Bobcats was a confusing one. You know, I think they started out in '05. They when Michael Jordan bought the team, expanded as a new team, and then eventually they were able to, get their legacy back together with the Hornets. So, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that right now. It's a whole story. We could cover
Yeah.
that in another
I
episode.
also I also feel like the NBA has been taking some notes from Major League Soccer, MLS, in other words,
And
because they've been.
NHL too.
Oh yeah, because not as much as MLS, because MLS has expanded several teams throughout past 5 6 years with Nashville, with Inter Miami. Who else? With what were the other teams? What were the other teams? Austin FC.
hmm
Nat did I mention Nashville?
You did. That was like the first one.
Okay, Cincinnati, and just it just keeps continuing from there. They've been
Eh,
expanding a lot. I feel like again, NBA's been taking a lot of notes, and they understand
Same.
that with more
Mhm.
expansions, worldwide audience will only grow. Fan bases in America will grow, and with
Thousand,
NBA adding these two cities, it's only a great. It's only getting better for the NBA.
1000%. Thousand. Even with the NHL too, with Vegas and Seattle, who were expanded a few years ago, and look at them now. Like Las Vegas just won the Stanley Cup. Seattle made a deep playoff run too.
Oh yeah,
So
which was kind of surprising to see. I
yeah.
at least didn't see that coming. Good for Seattle though.
All right. So let's get started with the first location for this expansion team. Uh, we're gonna start with Seattle. Funny enough, because
Man, they deserve it. Like I don't know
they're
why.
one of the biggest basketball cities without a team right now, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why they even. It sucks that they left at the time because I know their owner was who bought the team was from Oklahoma City, and he just decided to move that team from Seattle to down south to Oklahoma City.
Well, not just that, because Seattle was having a hard time affording the stadium and stuff, and on top of that, there was it was really a lot of political stuff, that caused
Yeah,
Seattle to move their team to OKC. On top of the owner being from Oklahoma,
yeah,
but I think for this to work, they're gonna have to pull a similar thing that Michael Jordan did with when he rebranded the Bobcats to the Hornets. Because if they are trying to redo the Seattle SuperSonics, probably what's gonna happen is they're gonna buy the rights of the Seattle SuperSonics that the Thunder has,
hmm
and essentially, rebrand, take that part of history and continue on from there.
And what that'll be weird is they actually have a Supersonics banner in Paycom Center in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
They do buy the rights. They're just
Yeah,
gonna take that banner away from them.
that's one of two things that could happen. Or if not, Seattle could definitely just recreate a new team, which would be the more logical thing to do. Just saying,
I don't
they'll
know.
save more money.
I don't know, to be honest. It's just gonna feel kind of weird. I feel like they would make a lot more money if they were to get the Supersonics back instead of getting a different logo, different name, different mission, different emblem, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets Supersonics, they'll gain a huge audience. Oh, and there's a lot of NBA players who are even like open to this idea of going to Seattle once the team opens up. And I don't blame them. Seattle's just
Hey
one of
man,
the in
KD
terms of
back to
basketball.
Seattle.
Man, KD and Westbrook. I know
KD and
Westbrook has to play
Westbrook.
there, but that would be pretty cool.
Because
Imagine.
Westbrook was technically the last player to be drafted by Seattle. Him and Ibaka.
And then
Oh,
getting James Harden too, maybe.
oh no, Harden was OKC. He was the first
I
draft pick.
know, but can you imagine that? That'll be fun. It'll be really fun to watch.
That would be fun to watch. Now the next city that's in talks, and it makes sense why this city is locked into this conversation. Las Vegas.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I love Vegas so much. Like, there's just so much excitement when you go. The vibes are just immaculate. It's on a different level. Every time
and
I
there,
go, I just always feel happy, and I feel like them starting to add more sports teams, potentially the NBA team, the Raiders, the A's.
yeah,
It's
they
just
just got the A's like a few months ago,
Mhm.
and which is great because Oakland viewership it's not as crazy, especially for
and,
the Athletics.
hear me out, bro. They did that experiment with the summer league. Look how much audience they're getting.
Yeah,
I went there 2 years ago, and it was the best thing, one of the best places I've ever been to. Because knowing it's right next to the strip and you're going to a basketball game, it's fun. It's because you have to be a sports lover like me to go enjoy the strip, but to also go have some sport time
I
too.
still haven't been to a summer league game, man. I aim to go to one of those, sometime in the future. However, you for LA guys like us, when we drive to Vegas, the first thing that comes up before even the strip is Allegiant Stadium, the home of the
Hmm.
Raiders, the current day home of the Raiders. And
Hmm.
that move that the Raiders made and the NHL made to bring the Golden Knights there, that kick started just an expansion in Vegas, like a big
Oh
old
yeah,
sports market. And their sports betting market is huge down there too.
we got Caesar Sportsbook, man.
It's crazy. I mean, the city of gambling of aces and kings. That, and it makes sense why Vegas is such a big hub for sports right now. And I think real shit, like the Vegas team is probably already locked in if they're gonna expand the team to.
No, I'm sure it's already logged. They just need to find the right ownership group, I guess. I know LeBron James has already their ownership group ready to go. That's from what I heard.
Probably
That's
it's gonna
by
happen
the
right out.
team.
And also, just for your information, guys, whatever is gonna happen with these expansion teams, it's gonna happen next summer. It's gonna start if, let's say, these teams are bought, it'll be locked in next summer. So right before the 2024 draft, they're gonna probably have an expansion draft first,
Hmm.
and
Because
each team.
sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was gonna say each team's allowed to protect 8 players, I believe,
Yeah,
and
and
they have
the
a
2K, the 2K
into
game.
the 2K knowledge is in here right now, dog. The amount of expansion teams I've done in 2K, that's why I know this.
Yeah, one of the things that I already had in mind when they first announced the team was one of the key criteria that they broke down was the 2024 media rights, because that's when it's expiring, which
Hmm.
is why they were holding back the expansion announcement. Now, once it ends by next year, like Kishan said, they're gonna announce the teams, Seattle and Vegas most likely.
Now there is a third city, however, and this could actually shake up the whole league.
Oh
I
yeah,
questioned it a little, but it could shake up the whole league when you think about it this way. Mexico City.
that's kind of interesting. Like you said, I'm questioning it too. But at the same time, I can understand where Adam Silver is coming from as to why he's doing this.
Right now, the NBA is a huge, huge international market when it comes
Oh
to the
yeah,
sports world. Them, and I believe like the MLB are like two of the biggest like international markets when it comes to the sports world. And and even the NFL too, with all the internet overseas games they've been
oh
going
yeah.
on.
NFL makes about 20 billion a year
Hmm.
from income
But
alone.
yeah, no. And they tried this experiment once under David Stern when they expanded with the Toronto Raptors and the Vancouver Grizzlies. Now the Vancouver Grizzlies obviously failed and moved down to Memphis. However, the Toronto Raptors stuck around, and now look at them. They have a championship banner under their name, and everything. So for them it worked. And I think Adam Silver, if he wants to look back and try again with Mexico City, I mean, might as well, right?
But can I just add one thing about Mexico City?
Let's hear it.
The travel. Like, I know
Yeah.
it's deep down south in Mexico, and then on top of that, like, with all the respect for the culture, I love Mexico. I love the people. They're one of the nicest
You love
people ever.
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. Bro, no.
We're
I,
not so don't worry.
it's an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yeah, I've been to Cancun. I've been to, let's see, Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Tijuana, and it's what?
Yeah, Tijuana, continue.
Tijuana. But yeah, guys, let's go back to the topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's obviously very beautiful, but I don't know, just for for the travel distance, I don't know if it could actually work out. But if it does,
Well, you got to think of it this way, man. The players themselves will probably be living in Mexico, which would actually help with the real estate down in Mexico City. You know, if they have a team down there, it would gentrify that city even more, and it would boost up real estate prices down there. And in terms of traveling, you know, I mean, really, most teams travel by plane. You know, like even with the Toronto, even like New York, which is like right there by Toronto, they still take a plane to Toronto. You know.
Hmm. I mean,
However,
I think that yeah.
I'm just saying, man, you know, just like how Atlanta players on Magic City, if Mexico City gets a team, man, their players will get to enjoy a certain special club down there too.
Bro, no, man, you think of the wrong city.
Yeah, I mean it's a few miles apart.
No,
Yeah.
man, it's it's low key kind of far.
It's looking kind of far. Yeah, okay.
I want to take the private jet, of course. I mean, but
It's just better.
anyways,
But yeah, I know. Like onto the more basketball terms of it, you know, it would be good for the international market, you know, expanding down to
definitely.
Mexico. Especially with the league and there's the Spanish players and presence. Now, I don't know if there have been any Mexican players in the NBA that I could name off the top of my head.
Juan Toscano Anderson.
Juan Toscano Anderson's Mexican. I always thought he was Puerto Rican. I'm not gonna
No, no,
lie.
he was born in San Francisco, but he's Mexican. I think
Like,
his mom or dad's Latino or Mexican or something like that.
probably his mom.
Yeah,
But yeah.
probably.
Um. But like you know, you have players like Manu Ginobili and Luis Scola who are from Argentina. You got guys like Leandro Barbosa from Brazil,
You can even
and
get
then
Luka Doncic, who was playing in Spain several years, so he can easily
played in
cope with the
Spain.
culture.
He
Ricky
what's it?
Rubio.
Ricky Rubio, the Gasol brothers, the Hernan Gomez brothers, you know, all these guys, you know, they have like they might not be from Mexico, but it's like some of the closest things that you can get to Spanish culture, you know.
In terms of language barriers or food in general, culturistic activities and whatnot.
I think
Honestly, bro,
I feel
yeah.
I feel
I'm
like
just
this would be a good. Go ahead,
I would
go ahead.
I'm just saying I would dig with it if they were to actually get Mexico on the map.
Real shit. They should make you the ambassador of Mexico City, like you know when the team gets expanded there.
Who?
You,
Me?
yeah.
Hey, NBA. I'm right here. If you guys need any.
Grant knows the NBA and he knows the Mexican nightlife. All right, now.
Hey, why not? Why not? I mean, I just know one thing: those players won't get lost. I've been to that country several times, so I would understand how things are run over there and whatnot.
No, definitely. Um, and then in terms of you know, if now one of the biggest questions is like, how would this work? Because all three teams we just named are Western Conference teams. You know,
Yeah.
geographically, that means finally, teams that should be in the East that are in the West will be moved. Now there are three teams, two of them that have already been talked about, one that we're going to mention on our early record. Grant, let's start with these.
Let's start off with New Orleans and also with
Which
Memphis.
let's start with New Orleans, man. Which that's
Yeah.
like one of the biggest Eastern teams out there. Like I still till this day will never under. I mean, yeah, geographically when I look at it, you know, from my map right here, it's close to Tech. It's like bordering Texas, which I guess yeah, sure. There's a reason why it's down there in like what's it called, the Northwest Division. With that said, though, that team really doesn't belong in like it's still more of an Eastern team when you look at it geographically.
New Orleans, yeah. I mean, you could still technically consider them in the West,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like also kind of bordered with the East. So if Vegas and Seattle were to be confirmed, most likely, then that could definitely be that's one of the cities that are being moved. Probably with the Atlanta or Miami, Washington Wizards division.
The Southeast
Exactly, the
Division.
Southeast.
Now, Memphis, that makes sense to me because that is like the most Eastern team you can get. Like, I'm looking at it by my map. It's right next to Arkansas, you know, and that's like East Eats. It's close to like Atlanta. It's
And the
close to.
thing is,
Mhm.
here's an interesting fact. With Nashville and Memphis, they're sort of bordered with the Western time, Central, or excuse me, the Central time, and with Mountain time. But
Yeah,
if you go a little more east, you go to Knoxville, that's already considered Eastern time, which is
yeah.
3 hours. So that's where people tend to question, is Tennessee more west or more east? It could be utilized in both. So again, if these both teams of Vegas and Seattle likely confirmed, I think Tennessee, Memphis would be more considered to be moved.
And I think for competition's sake too, Memphis would have a better time in the East.
They would make the East more interesting.
1,000%, you know? You'll see John Morant gunning down the competition down there. It's a lame attempt at a John Morant joke, whatever. But
You'll get a Desmond Bain, the T-Rex.
Desmond Bain, the T-Rex versus the Toronto Raptors, you know?
Yeah.
And
With
then
this,
finally, there is a third team that, like, again, this is I've always considered this more of an Eastern team, and I'm glad that when we were talking about this before, we have the same team in mind: the Minnesota Timberwolves.
yup.
They
Literally
need
right
they need
next
to
to
move out of the
Chicago.
West, bro. They need to move out of the West. If they
Yeah.
want success, they should move out of the West.
I don't think Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert can keep up with Jokic or the other Western teams.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they'll handle Embiid in the East, you know, or Giannis, but
Another crazy thing is that city, Minneapolis, also shares the same time zone as Chicago, Milwaukee, and so forward.
it would
So
be a Central Division team. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, no question about it. And they're obviously going to go to the Central if they were, of course, move to the East, which
And
I think
now
makes a lot of sense.
if people want to do the math here on how this would work, yeah, you move one team to the west or east and two teams into the west. That'd be 16 on each side.
Hmm.
Now, how would this affect the way the schedule works and stuff? I don't think it's going to affect that much just because I'm going to be honest with you. When there were just six teams in the league back in the 50s, they still ran an 82 game schedule. So I think they're still going to run an 82 game schedule regardless. And I don't think they're going to add or lessen any more games than they have.
And in terms of division breakdowns, a lot of people tend to question that too, including myself. Obviously, if they have 16 in each
Conference.
conference, West and East, they would break down to four teams in
Mm-hmm.
each division, which I think would make a lot of sense too. You obviously get all the California teams, SAC, both LA and Golden State in one, and you can maybe,
Well,
yeah,
one division will have six teams, and then two divisions would have five teams each.
I don't like
On
that
each
though.
con-
I feel like they should equalize it four,
that
four,
one.
four, four, or four, 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 and four with East and West.
So you're thinking add another new division, sort of like the NFL has it, like how they have
Exactly. I think even the NHL might have it or might not, but it's more of NHL too. You get the Pacific West, you get the Northwest, Southwest, and
I think at that rate, then instead of that, they could just go. Okay, I mean, if you, I don't like that idea. I think they should stick with what they have. But if let's say they go that route, they should take a page out of the NFL books and they should just go NFC style, like you know, or North, East, West, South. You know,
yeah, or I thought about it. Like I said, the Pacific West, Northwest, Southwest, and Midwest.
Midwest.
With the Midwest, you got Denver, Utah, Oklahoma. Maybe you can squeeze in Dallas. I know with the Northwest, you could do Portland, Minnesota, Seattle, or you
Uh-huh.
can put Sacramento with Northwest, and you could squeeze Phoenix in with the Pacific West.
Now, the way I see this whole thing, you know, I definitely think that if let's say Vegas gets made into a team, you know,
Hmm.
they're definitely going to be put in the Pacific Division, you know, just because that seems like a. If not, they're going to be put Southwest. It's one or the other.
Yeah, they could be. They can either way could work. You're
And
obviously
then
gonna have the Texas teams going down
mhm,
south, San Antonio and Houston, maybe even
it,
Dallas.
it's all the Texas teams that are down there. I would say real stuff. Move OKC down to the Southwest. It's about damn time they move OKC to the Southwest, just because OKC doesn't belong in the Northwest division. I get why it's there, but it doesn't belong
No, I
there.
know, but I'm just saying if they were to have a system like Midwest and whatnot, you would put Oklahoma with Denver and Utah.
No, I'm okay, but I'm talking if they still stick with the system that they already have. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. No, it would make sense like that too.
like let's say Seattle becomes one team. I think you replace OKC with Seattle, put
Yeah,
OKC in the Southwest division, leave Seattle up there, and then when it comes to Vegas, you could put Vegas in the Pacific division,
I agree with you on that.
and then whatever team you want to move to the East, you know, that you could figure out like either Southeast or Central. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of just the league landscape too, I feel like that's gonna be awesome. Like seeing new stars come out of these teams and stuff, you know?
And the best part is, in my opinion, is with these two expansions, you're gonna get a lot more potential basketball players. Young kids can have opportunities to expand in the league. Because, bro, 60 players in the draft, for example, I feel like that's too little. And all of them go to the G League usually. So you probably have less than a 10% chance of being on an actual NBA roster, which is
And
unfortunate.
even the G League too. Like not every NBA team has a G League team. Like the Suns are currently
Exactly.
trying to look for a G League team as we speak. You know.
Phoenix is gonna have a G League team supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Portland's getting one as well.
The Glendale Kebab Grillers.
The mascot is Armenian dad bringing the moral.
Oh, Akbares. Jair, bring me the red meat.
Hey, bro, Glendale, it would be lit if they were actually have a G League team up there. You playing Glendale High School or Hoover
Because
High School?
nah, man, because I'm talking because a lot of people don't know that there is a Glendale in Arizona too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where the Cardinal Stadium is.
my mom's aunt's over there at Glendale in Arizona.
Did they get confused with Glendale, California, and Glendale, Arizona?
They're like, wait, this isn't California. They're like, it's Glendale. It's
It's
okay.
Glendale.
It's Glendale.
I mean, in regards to that, is there anything else we need to cover with this, or
I believe that's all. Yeah, we covered the teams that are getting expanded and the shakeups of what would
and
come down.
let us know, guys. What do you think is going to happen in the NBA? Keep in mind, this is not going to happen right now. It's still going to be another year, you know. So probably this
Yeah.
next season is still going to be like a regular season, the way it is with the 30 teams. We're not going to get 32 until the summer of 2024. Fingers
Minimum,
crossed it happens because I really do want to see two new teams in the league.
definitely. I think Seattle and Vegas again do deserve it a lot. Even Mexico City would be very interesting if
All
they
I
would.
know is if there's a team in Mexico City, I'll see Grant down there more often.
I'll be the ambassador, like you
Yeah,
said.
he'll be the ambassador. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this new latest episode. If you guys have any questions, hit up in our DMs at Oopscast or our personal IGs at GCryan at Kishan FTW. We'll continuously upload more videos. You know, we're trying to do it more on a regular basis, like how we've been doing the last few. And check out our last YouTube upload. Check out the IG page. You know, and yeah. With that said, guys, this is your host Kishan Desai
It's Grant Crying.
signing out.